Okay, so let's talk about it, because one thing that, say, the blessing and the curse, right? The pro and the con is we can't allow like that to silence us. Let's talk about it. So whether it's not saying much because you don't want people to be drawn to you, or whether it's because you speak and when you speak no one listens, or there's so many things that say deal with our throat chakra that can block it. And I'm made to think about a time where, when I was working in corporate world, and I was say the director of partnerships and also studio manager for this particular company. And at one point during my tenure there, my voice and what I had to say was very important, and when I spoke, people listened. However, that would change whenever the vid hit, because apparently this was an opportunity for, say, another person to come up. I guess they saw that as their opportunity to, say, like, shine, and they may have appeared to have more, say, history or like background in this particular thing. And so what I noticed was, when we would be in meetings, we would have our meetings, my voice was being silenced. I would speak up, but they weren't listening. And I got so frustrated that I just shut down completely. And I was just like, you know what? I notice every time I say something, y'all not listening, so I'm just not gonna say nothing at all. And it got to a point to where I broke down. And it was so unprofessional when I broke down, but it was because I'd been suppressing my voice for a time, you know what I'm saying? Simply because I felt like they were not hearing me. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because later on that would bite me in my butt for my own purpose, like working for myself. And also it brought to the surface how I was suppressing my voice in other areas of my life. So, it may seem like that's off topic, but I promise you it all goes together. Because if any way you were silenced, or like you even silence yourself, say like suppress your own voice, it can start to take root in other areas of your life. So we have to be really careful, about being silent. There's a time to be silent and there's a time to speak up. And I'm so grateful looking back at that situation, because it did it allowed me to see myself in other areas of my life. It just seemed before, because I was so vocal at work, that, oh, I'm this person who speaks up. But in all actuality, in my life outside of work, I rarely did. And that was mainly because I was the strong friend. You get what I'm saying? So I was so used to people leaning on me. And again, like, I want us to tone in on that, right? I was so used to people leaning on me that even in this time, when now seems like someone else stepped up to the plate to, say, be the leader, if you will, of the movement, it seemed as if it would have been a great opportunity for me to rest. But I was so used to being the one that people leaned on. I was so used to being the strong friend that when I was given an opportunity to relax, I lose my mind. It was almost as if y'all don't need me anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, so many lessons there, because we as a people, and I don't know, I'm just speak for Black people, like, we don't know how, or we've been conditioned to be workhorses. We've been conditioned to work. And only if you're working are you worthy of rest, of luxury, or anything. Like, we've been conditioned that we are not worthy of even rest. So while that was an opportunity for me to rest, if you will, I felt like I was being pushed to the side. I felt like I was being pushed to the background, and that meant that my position was, if you will, like, almost, it's at stake, if you will, right? Like, if they don't need me, or if I'm not leading the pack, then they'll just discard me at some point or another, or I'll just get lost in the sauce. And again, that was just being mentally conditioned for years that if you are not leading the pack, if you are not that strong friend, if you are not that strong individual that's pushing the movement, that's driving the movement, then your importance and your value is lessened because you're replaceable. And in that position, I was the first Black person to hold that position. So, it was like, okay, I need to put my stake in the ground, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I'd end up leaving that company. But I learned so much about that situation, from that situation. And it all started with me feeling like they were suppressing my voice, which I won't say that they were not. But I'm saying that I was in control of that. Whether or not they listened was up to them. But me suppressing my voice because I felt they did not listen was on me. So, we have to be really careful with that. And when you find yourself in positions like that, I would definitely say introspect and ask yourself, where else in my life am I suppressing my voice? And is it because I'm afraid that people will not listen, or is it because I don't want everybody, thinking I'm their best friend or the strong friend? You know what I mean? Just something to think about. Yeah.